I just came from the movie Doubt. Boy, what a name. What a title. And I'm reviewing movies that I think I can add something to with my examination of the issues involved. And this movie, Doubt, deals with people's suspicion of that a pedophile is among them. In this case, it was a Catholic priest, and the nun becomes, played by Meryl Streep, becomes suspicious of the Catholic priest in their school, who had jurisdiction over their school. Catholic school was possibly, you know, a pedophile, or in fact she convinced herself he was.
Did you go to Catholic school?
No, I didn't.
No, neither did I.
But I did have molestation in my background, and I know how I approached it, you know, from the time. And my biggest worry was how this would be handled by the people around me if I told, you know, because I became convinced that my molester would immediately be killed. He would not be taken to trial, he wouldn't be arrested, he would just be flat out killed.
What's this got to do with the movie?
So, well, the movie deals with what the people around do when they even suspect, possibly wrongly, from what I could see.
Hey folks, this is a Sunday rant.
They just did not have
movie review.
enough evidence to prove that this Catholic priest was guilty. I mean, she convinced herself based on past experience and the fact that he was affectionate with the boys. Probably, you know, just as soon as he put his arm around some kid and try to comfort him.
My father put his arm around me.
Yeah, right. Well, the Catholic priest, she immediately, a red flag went up in her mind. Oh, that's it. That's proof.
And he never French kissed me either. That's what I really liked about my dad.
Well, that is what you got. The whole thing about pedophile is, it's a terrible accusation to make. So, and so this priest's life was going to be ruined possibly by this, if it was a false accusation. Not that we haven't had pedophile priests, and this hasn't hit the news and been finally acknowledged by the church, and because some of the molested people came out and said this was how some of the priests were persecuted. And I thought the treatment of this movie, it dealt quite well with, you know, how human beings are. You know, the accusers, like, they can just become so self-righteous. They want punishment, and based on
wait a minute.
Not very much.
I'm just going to throw
affection.
this out. I didn't see the movie, folks. I had no desire to see it. But let's just suppose, for instance, there was no money involved.
Oh, no.
How many people would actually...
What do you mean? No money involved? What?
I said if there were no money involved. They sued the Catholic Church.
Oh.
Get it?
Oh, yeah.
Get it?
Yeah,
Get
some
it?
of the lawsuits,
Good.
yes.
Oh, I can remember.
The church being very wealthy.
I passed a Catholic church one time, and this priest went. I thought that was an aggressive move.
Impressive church, yes.
No, aggressive move for a Catholic priest to wave at me as I walked out on my way down to the Lutheran school.
Oh,
it's only a block away, for crying out loud.
So, mostly based on this Catholic priest's insistence on being quite affectionate with the boys in the school, you know, being quite warm, and he believed in that, he said.
Well, yeah, but let me throw another thing out at you. If he starts doing that with the nuns, I mean, think about that for a minute, right?
Yes.
Are the nuns going to go along with that?
Yeah, well, but the thing, you know, I was comparing it to Milk, where we see the religious faction were determined to get all of the Catholic, all of the gay teachers and social workers out of the system. So they were going to criminalize all of the gays and accuse them of being molesters, probably. And when you do that, good heavens, you're just going to make it that much harder to find the ones that are really guilty, because anybody with common sense ought to know there's a lot of gays who are not going to be molesting children.
Okay?
Yes.
And a latent homosexual.
Yeah, right.
So when I was raising, you know, the boys, yeah, sometimes, you know, I'd hug them and when you want sports or something like that, you know, I'd pat them on the head and
yeah.
ooh, what does that make me?
Stepfather, yes, you could be. Well, that's it. When affection, just affection, or is given a connotation, but I think all of us.
Was that criminal behavior? I mean, my God,
all of us.
Our society is really starting to go into the dumper.
Well, then
you can't do anything anymore. Like you just, you know, first of all,
if you were going to be fair, you wouldn't hire any heterosexual teachers either, because look at all the heterosexuals that molest children and get involved with their students and all this. Our news is full of it. This teacher had sex with a 14-year-old boy, you know, female teacher. And see, you know, if you criminalize everybody, then what are you doing? You're not really going to get at. It's hard enough. I know being molested, how difficult that was for me to even make up my mind that I would go to the next stage and tell people. I did manage to get away from the molester, the first one, and keep him from abducting me again, which he did 3 times, before I could get my wits about me and figure out how I could stop this without telling. This is what I want to do, without telling. Because I thought, well, he'll be murdered.
Well, what's this got to do with the movie?
Well, it's on the same subject. Is when you go to the next level, like what the
well, this is circumstantial evidence.
Yes, the nun eventually tells the priest that she's going to get him.
You got a couple altar boys.
Yeah, well, that's exactly what was involved. Is 2 altar boys.
Wouldn't you think that they would go immediately to their parents or to somebody, or to say, the priest is feeling up my genitalia or whatever they do for molesting? I don't know.
Believe me, they don't do it. I didn't do it. I didn't tell my parents.
But you're not well.
Oh. Well, I was very, very young, but I still didn't tell them. Why? Because
I didn't say that. I said
there was a lot involved in telling. That's a huge step to go get everybody else involved.
Is the priest going to punch you out?
No, well, you don't know what's going to happen when you tell these things. And so the nun told him that she was going to have him out of there. That she suspected him, and she suspected him of lying. And she confronted him with the idea, and he tried to tell her that she was wrong, that this was not. She accused him of lying. And so I'm sure he decided to cut his losses and get the heck out of there because she was after him. And what was funny at the end, she said, well, were you, the other nun said, were you responsible for getting him out? She said, yes. But they made him pastor to another school. In fact, they gave him more or less a step up because they didn't believe me. But he wanted to leave. He didn't want to deal with me anymore. It was either him or
her. You got 30 seconds. Actually, you got about no seconds. It's
okay, there you have it.
Well, is this the first run through?